Hi, my name is Justin Crisp, and this is an update video to my last walkthrough for the YuGiOh example using React and WebSpatial. Since then, I've gone through and I wanted to update the app a lot. I've added a deck builder and actual YuGiOh gameplay mechanics that is playable. Not completely playable, but playable. However, I did make a mistake on using modern game mechanics from YuGiOh, and if you know anything about modern YuGiOh, you'd realize that was a big mistake. I should have not done that. There's all these crazy new things like pendulum monsters, chain links, spell speed, and all this stuff that makes it way overly complicated. And that caused some pretty big issues for me with the state management that I'll get into a little bit later. But to start, what did I do? I basically updated a lot of the design. I tried to make it look a little bit more consistent, a little bit cleaner for the web. I wanted to get the app looking really good for the web first and then enable it for XR later on. However, that was also maybe a little bit of a mistake because I probably added a little bit too much to the web version going into the XR version. When I'm going into the XR version after I loaded it, I noticed that it was really slow. Things were not loading. It was incorrect. I had to redo the build. I had to update some of the way that I was handling the XR props. And then it was still really slow. And I realized, okay, I was putting enable XR on every single element within my JSX files. And that was completely dumb because the enable XR tag is inherited from the parent to the child. So the child inherits it from the parent, right? So I'm adding all these tags that don't need to be there, and it's just really slowing down the WebSpatial API pipeline. So removing a bunch of those tags or the attributes for enable XR really sped up the performance of the card shop screen that mainly uses most of the XR elements. But then I was like, okay, cool, that's great. The most important thing for this app is actually getting the game playing in XR, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to load that up. I loaded it up. And as soon as I click on a card, as soon as a phase changes, as soon as I draw a card, everything gets re-rendered. The whole game board refreshes in XR, and it just like is a totally different experience than on the web. And I was looking into this. It's like, why is this happening? Well, a lot of the reason it's happening is because I have this really big state machine with all these different things that it's tracking. It's tracking how much health the player has, how many cards are in the player's hand, like whose turn is it, what phase is it, what card is selected, all these things. And every single time I change one of these things, it like updates the DOM, which updates the WebSpatial API, which updates the Apple Vision Pro, which causes everything to re-render. Now, this is in part my fault. I could be using better techniques like memoization to like stop certain things from re-rendering, but it's going to take me a really long time to really dive deep into that with how complicated I made the state machine. There's all these different states, and how many things do I need to memoize? And if I do, like, then is it even really working? Is it really even like memoization if everything is memoized? I don't know. So it's really complicated as it stands right now. And right now it's just not playable. So what's the solution? I'm not quite sure yet, but I want to make sure that I can make it like I make a simpler game so I can kind of target what is the main problem and what I can stop from re-rendering all the time. I might just hit a wall and realize that I literally can't stop, I can't have a drag and drop card game without things re-rendering. So in that case, I really hope that's not the case, but I do have a plan for that. It does involve 3GS, but it's not going to feel as good as it would feel, if it was just purely an XR enabled experience. It would be kind of like a viewport within an XR experience. And that's not really what we're going for here. So I might need to find a hacky workaround, who knows, but that's where I'm at right now with the gameplay. A couple other goals that I want to achieve by the next video is adding some 3D models. It looks like we can use USDZ support to actually load in some of the models. Unfortunately, it seems like we might need to load them in directly in memory on the app, so I won't be able to just download them, like having a download link and be able to bring them in on demand. But we'll see. There's a lot more to do. But I think step one, let's get the game working. Let's get it playing in XR. I think the core features are built out for the web right now. And then step two is going to be getting 3D models loading. I think that'd be really cool. All right. Thank you so much for listening to my TED Talk on on this. I don't know how to end this. Thanks for watching. I'll hope have an update video soon. Thank you all. Bye.